Yep. Ready? Yep, that's it. We would like to call the regular meeting to order. If those are able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. If you remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a consent, which are the minutes of the January 21st, 2025 regular meeting and statements and checks.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge,
Support Peterson.
support Peterson. Any discussion or corrections on the minute?
I had a couple.
Clerk Swanson.
So there are a few places in the minutes where, so on the page 1, down at the bottom, for more clarity, we're going to add to approve the motion to approve the minutes carried unanimously. So there was a motion, and there was some discussion, and then the motion carried unanimously. We're going to add the motion to approve the minutes carried unanimously to be specific about what carried unanimously. And then there were several places where there were things that need to be attached. So when, like, number 1, new business, after it says the motion, it should say see attached. So those new board rules, after they've been approved, would be attached.
Okay.
And then item 5, item 9, item 10, item 11, item 12, and item 13, all of those would have a C attached. So the resolution, the contracts, all of those things would be attached. So after they're approved, then they would be added to the minutes as attachments.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Corrections? Trustee Rowe? Yeah, there's a motion and support for the minutes.
The consent agenda.
I can't hear you at all.
I think that you were adding those additions that I had sent over.
The attachments, yep.
Yeah, and I was just concerned because I had requested one thing to be verbatim under our rules earlier in the meeting of the minutes that we're approving. And then as we changed the rules later in the meeting, the other things that I wanted to do, I didn't mention at the meeting. So those weren't included because the clerk had sent out an email stating why she didn't want to include those. But I think until the actual rules are changed, the rules say that I had a right to add those verbatim, and I would like to ask that addition be made.
Thank you for your comments. Hearing any? Any other comments?
Is that going to happen or not? I'm sorry, Madam
Thank you.
Supervisor?
We're going to conduct the meeting in a proper way.
Okay, sorry.
So that's not my understanding of an addition. So the corrections would be things like were discussed with the attachments, not the addition of comments.
Madam Supervisor?
Second time, Trustee Rowe.
It's not really an addition. It was something that actually was in the minutes or should have been in the minutes. It's not an addition. It's you sent out an email saying because of the things that you had to do and time and staff restrictions and because it didn't, you think, follow 2 different statutes, which I replied to you on those, and that you didn't want to add those, but the rules clearly stated at that meeting that if I requested by Thursday, which I did in writing, to have certain sections verbatim, that would happen. So I think until the actual, you don't have the authority just to change the board rules and say, I don't want to do that. That's my issue. So I don't know how other people feel about that, but.
Well, we're not asking how other people
Right.
feel about it.
All right, well, then I'll make an amendment to the motion that the verbatim statements that I requested to be in the minutes that followed the board rules be included.
There is a proposed motion by Clerk Rowe to amend the minutes to include verbatim request that was made at the previous, that was made on Thursday after the meeting, actually. So the motion is to add verbatim minutes to these minutes, even though there are verbatim portions in it. So we need to see if there's a second for that motion. Motion fails. Pardon me?
I second that motion.
Okay, just a moment. Wait a minute. We're going to go in order this time. We're not going to do what we did last time. Yes, Trustee Peterson.
Madam Chair, one of the things I think we should recognize, when you want to get,
Speak into them, yeah.
yeah, when you want to get on the floor as recognized, you have to say, Madam Chair. So you just can't say, I second that motion, or, well, she could say second that motion, I take that back. But this is an issue. That motion died because it was too late, because you were moving on. Nobody said nothing. I don't know, did you recognize her or not? That's the question. She was almost there. I'm just asking a question. So
I did recognize her.
you did, well, thank you. Just clear.
So the motion before the board is to add additional verbatim minutes to the current minutes of January 21st, 2025. Everyone understand the motion?
Yes.
Can you repeat it, ma'am? I'm sorry.
The motion to the minutes, the amended motion is to add additional verbatim minutes to the January 21st, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. That is a motion before us.
Thank you.
The only thing I will say, to speak to the motion, the thing I've learned at MTA is verbatim minutes are not recommended. So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Can I speak to the motion, Madam Supervisor?
You already made the motion and spoke to it. You spoke twice about it.
Madam Supervisor? Are
No.
you saying I can't? There's a rule now that you can't speak more than once on an item.
Twice. You can speak twice.
What rule is that?
Recommended rules by
Yeah, just,
Robert's Rules of Order.
That's the issue. You're just making up stuff.
I'm not making up stuff.
It's not in the rules that you only get to speak twice. I didn't speak twice. I spoke once on the original.
What we're not going to do is go back and forth. That's what we're not going to do this meeting.
Statement.
You have no more? Okay.
I said I had one more.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Trustee. You are so welcome. Very much appreciated.
The issue is that the rules that we adopted at that meeting said that you could ask, if you did by Thursday, in writing, to have certain sections or any, by yourself or anyone else, verbatim. Also, you could do it at the meeting. That was the rules that were in place at the time. I did this first section that I wanted, which was very short, and thank you, you added those.
You're repeating the same thing.
But the second one, no, I just want it clear that the rules said that I had the right to do that, and the clerk said I don't have time, and because it doesn't follow what she thinks the Open Meetings Act says, and another act, she decided unilaterally just not to do that. She doesn't have that power, that's all, I'm done.
Okay. All right.
I'll give it to her.
Okay. So we have a motion in support to add additional verbatim minutes to the existing January 21st, 2025 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
2 in favor, opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion fails. Now we're back at the original motion, which is to approve the minutes with the corrections that Clerk Swanson presented. There's a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, 1 nay. The next item on the agenda is statements and checks.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge,
Support Peterson.
support Peterson. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is the general legal update. Mr. Winters?
Madam Chair, I've been speaking at some of the previous board meetings in regards to the ongoing economic development and what a priority that has been and continues to be for the township. And on the agenda tonight will be a First Amendment to a previous executed purchase agreement between the township and Culver's. Their legal entity is UPH Ypsilanti Property LLC. This is simply an amendment to the purchase agreement that extends the approval period to August 15th. I've talked with their attorney and with the proprietor as well as the planners. They're actually scheduled for a planning commission meeting this coming, I think, January 25th. It's February 25th. They're on the agenda, and right now this purchase is already led, or purported and planned purchase it's already led to additional phone calls coming in for other properties located on that portion of the Seaver Farm. So there continues to be a high level of interest in that property owned by the township, and I think it's going to turn out to be extremely positive, just as I believe right now Aldi's is being received. In addition, this morning, Supervisor Stumbo, Clerk Swanson, and myself met with the Ypsilanti City Manager and their attorney to discuss a number of very serious issues involving, get this straight because there's a lot of arbors. It's the Arbor 1 apartments located off of LaForge Road. One side of the city side are a lot more apartment units than on the township side. And I've gone through a lot of the materials that were provided by the city attorney for us to review. And this meeting, I think, was to bring the township officials up to date as to what is going on in Arbor. Just because LaForge Road is the dividing line between the city and the township, we all recognize that there is no really line when it comes to certain issues that impact the quality of life for an area of the township. And so after that meeting, I think Supervisor Stumbo reached out to a number of our elected state officials. We spoke with one of the township's county commissioners in regards to this issue, and we'll continue to do whatever we can right now to assist the city in terms of dealing with this issue. The township has had a lot of experience over the years in dealing with landlords who don't want to maintain quality or abide by property maintenance. And a lot of people, in my opinion, are suffering over there on the city side. But at the same time, I think we are one community, and we try to help our neighbors. And as much information as we can talk about, we will, because they are assembling additional information for myself to review. And I think, again, it was a very good meeting for the standpoint of this township. Also, knowing that we support their actions in trying to hold the landlords accountable, because the living conditions that we've seen, that they shared with us, are very deplorable. Likewise, we continue to meet with representatives of the TPOAM and contractual negotiations. Those are ongoing. We have a number of other infrastructure improvements that John Hines has been overseeing, and we've been able to sign off on more. I think we're getting ready to sign off on the bathrooms for the Green Oaks Golf Course. It sounds like a awful far away right now in the middle of wintertime to talk about a golf course, but all the bathrooms and infrastructure projects that have been approved by the board continue to be checked off that list, and as well as I think even the HVAC units at the community center have also finally been approved. The township continues to experience, like anybody else as a homeowner, a number of different issues that arise during the winter months. The fire chief right now is experiencing a water line break under the parking lot at the fire station, and we've got the quotes and have done some emergency scope to know where the problem lies, and we'll be contacting the township's insurer, which is the MML LPP, and I will say that they've done an excellent job responding to the township's insurance claims, and unfortunately those things occur, but that's why you have insurance. The other insurance matter that has been addressed was water damage to the law enforcement center, and Belfour Restoration likewise did a very great job in not only remediation but also in repairs, so that one has now been completed and off the books. And likewise, the township continues to work in regards with the developers of the Sheets gas station, convenience store, restaurant on Michigan Avenue. They are nearing completion of all of their requirements in terms of the planning standpoint, and the township will soon have a development agreement for the board's consideration. This property is zoned properly for this use, but there will be a development agreement to make sure that some of the understandings that we have reached will be memorialized in a approved development agreement. That's kind of a thumbnail sketch of what's going on, in addition to all the letters that you receive in regards to ongoing public nuisance cases and other matters that I haven't discussed this evening.
What about Galt Village? We had him, yeah.
We had, well, I think on the Galt Village, we did also learn this past week, last week, that the property that was up for what we thought to be a tax foreclosure has been pulled off the tax foreclosure by the new county treasurer, Letitia Sharp. We met with her staff, and their attorney, Tad Sides. And during that meeting, we also were made aware that that property is now under the ownership of Mrs. Hall, and there's a court-appointed receiver from Kentucky who's also filed motions before Judge Conkey, who had jurisdiction over the township's case. Subsequent to that meeting, I know that Supervisor Stumbo and Treasurer Eldridge also met with County Administrator Dill and Commissioner Hodge, and they have expressed a sincere interest in also being involved in the redevelopment of Galt Village. So we're very optimistic that with the assistance of the county and their commitment to do so, and from what I understand from that meeting, they have been wanting to do a project of this nature in the township for quite some time. But with that commitment, as well, with that commitment of trying to make that happen, coupled with the expertise they bring to the table from Nathan Vogt, who's been the Brownfield redevelopment coordinator, along with the state land bank, et cetera, I think right now that we're in a position to see some great possibilities happening on the Galt Village property. Don't want to overstate what can happen until we get more closer, but that's a positive outreach from the county, and I think that Stan and Brenda were very pleased to have that conversation.
Thank you. Questions or comments? That was good news from the county and Galt Village. I know the residents are going to be disappointed because it's extended another year, but the fact that they want to be part of the redevelopment, I do think is very much good news. All right, the next item on the agenda is to amend the Township Board rules.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge,
Support Peterson.
support Peterson.
Ken, the board rules were originally written many, many years ago, and we began to update them prior to 2020. Have it in the current rules that they need to be reviewed every December. We missed that, and so we're looking at it in January, and some of the discussion that's taken place the last 2 or 3 meetings has made it even more pertinent. So in looking at those and hearing the discussion, the packet you have before you, you should have a red line packet that shows the items that were either added in the, it was supposed to be kind of a orange or gold, but I can't really tell on mine what color it is. Looks to be orange. And then there's a red area that has crossouts of the sections that were taken out. The sections that were changed were Rule 5, Section 5.3, just the order of business changed to, I just have to pick my other copy here that's, to add a couple of items that had been missed or changed over the past year. We added in determination of quorum and clerk, am I missing the other one? There were 2. Approval of agenda. And then in Rule 7, Section 7.3, which it speaks to the verbatim, was removed in its entirety. And if I can, just for a moment, the reason I voted no earlier, if you look at Rule 7.2, it speaks to the record of discussion. And this was not caught by any previous board over the last 7 or 8 years. And as I looked at it recently, the record of discussion says the township clerk shall not be responsible for maintaining a written record, and it goes on to talk more about that. And you go down to 7.3, and it contradicts itself by saying they shall. So that was my reasoning for earlier. And so 7.2 and 7.3 are actually in contradiction of each other, and over the last 6, 7, 8 years, it's never been caught by any board or any board member, including me. So it just cleans it up and makes it more compatible with what the MTA has suggested and what's also listed in the most updated Robert's Rules of Order book. And for those board members that have this new edition, it's page 120, question 15. Page 120, question 15, it's at the bottom under answer. And it simply says that the minutes are a record of what was done at a meeting, not a record of what was said. So that was the logic behind cleaning up those 2 areas and presenting it as it is this evening. Thank you.
Discussion by board members. Trustee Rowe.
Just a historical perspective, that paragraph on verbatim, that was added when I was clerk. That was not in there prior to. And I don't know, you probably can remember, I voted against that back then because I really don't believe in it. And the only reason I had asked for those minutes is because I had tried 3 or 4 times to get the minutes corrected and was not able to do that. And that's why I added the verbatim. But anyways, yeah, that was added when I was clerk. There was a certain trustee who decided that they wanted to make my life miserable. And so I literally, I think almost every single meeting, probably for 2 years, we had 60-page, 50-page minutes with verbatim. So I agree that verbatim's crazy. So I just hope that consideration under the comments and additions, that they will be reflective of, the changes that were actually, what was said on the tape.
Other comment? Clerk
Well, I would
Swanson?
just want to add that the township has audio, and the audio is posted within 24 hours. So the capturing of who said what is always available on the audio. And looking, it looks like in 2017 is when that started, and they've not been removed, so the township has not made a decision to remove audio. So the comments are there, people can listen to them. We took a step when we took office to actually bookmark those, which had been a request in the past, so to make it even a little easier to jump to where you would want to listen to something in the audio. So the comments are there, they're just not in the minutes, they're in the audio of the board meeting.
Other board member comments? I just want to say that I agree with Trustee Rowe about the verbatim, but my minutes when I was clerk had a lot of information in it. But after going to this training and when Karen Rowe was clerk, she said less is best, and that's what MTA said, and that is what they continue to say. So I support the changes because of that. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is a First Amendment to real estate purchase agreement with UPH Ypsilanti Property LLC, who's doing business as Culver's, which is extending the approval period through August 15th, 2025.
So moved, Peterson.
Support Swanson.
Motion Peterson, support Swanson to approve the First Amendment, which granted the extension until August 15th, 2025. Are there questions or comments on this issue? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is the adoption of the interlocal agreement for Washington County to opt out of a designated assessor. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Support Thornton.
Motion Eldridge, support Thornton. I know that Brian McCleary is here. If you wanted to review what the county has proposed to do.
Good evening. I'm Brian McCleary, Deputy Assessor. So part of the State of Michigan audit process for the assessors is one of the new law that they came up with is that each county would have a designated assessor or they could opt out of it. And based on the information that is the equalization director, Chris Spang, has mentioned was that, first of all, it's hard to get an assessor to actually step forward and do that. They can't take any of the assessors from within our county. So the first reason was we couldn't find anybody to step in. Secondly is if they had a designated assessor, they would have to then pay them a retainer on a regular basis. So if we were on board with that, the township would most likely have to pay a retainer. If we opted out of a designated assessor, what would happen is if the township were to fail their assessing audit, the option would be then the board could either assign a new assessor or the state would then delegate an assessor. They would choose an assessor to come in and take over the role. So as far as the township goes, the only way that we would need a designated assessor is if we failed the audit, and we haven't failed the audit. We've actually got 100% the last 2 times in a row, and I've included our certificate on that. So we've recommended that we sign the opt-out so that we don't have to pay a retainer on a designated assessor, and if some reason we needed it, the state would assign a designated assessor for us.
Are there any questions or comments? This is a long way of saying that the county wants us to opt out.
They want us to opt out, yes.
Correct. And the County Board of Commissioners actually passed the resolution and signed the agreement, and they're asking each individual community to do the same.
That's correct. They need a majority of the communities to sign on board in order for the opt-out to take effect.
Any questions or comments on that? I do want to say congratulations again on the 100%
Thank you.
achievement for the assessing department. That's done every 5 years, correct?
Yes.
So, knock on wood, as long as we've been here, we've been successful, and we appreciate the work of the assessing department. It's all about the assessor, so thank you, Brian. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is a recommendation to appoint Amy Caher to the Planning Commission with a term ending 12/31/26.
So moved.
Support Thornton.
Motion Eldridge, support Thornton. Discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Is a young lady here this evening? Is she here this evening?
Yes,
She is here.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. So we advertised for the positions, and we received 6, I think, requests. And Ms. Amy is an engineer, and that's a new perspective to have on the Planning Commission. I think it's a very good perspective to have. So thank you for volunteering to be on our boards and commissions. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is the budget amendment number 2. Clerk Swanson?
Motion to amend the 2025 budget, number 2. Move to increase the general fund budget by $25,925 to $21,055,024 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the environmental services fund budget by $36,998 to $4,295,669 and approve the department line item changes as outlined.
So moved. Support.
Motion,
I didn't know if
Peterson? Did Peterson motion?
No.
Did you motion? Swanson? Swanson motion, support, I'm sorry, support Lovejoy Roy, I didn't quite hear that.
I had to read it first, so should it have been supported before I voted?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, you did it correctly.
Okay.
I just didn't hear who motioned it.
Okay.
So we have a motion support. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under other business, we had received an email request, and I sent it out to the board, but I didn't ask in the beginning of the meeting to put it on under other business to consider an appointment for a vacancy of the Park Commission.
I would move that we allow it to be on the agenda now.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Motion Lovejoy Rowe, support Eldridge. There is it's our first time, there's a vacancy created on the Park Commission because one of the persons who was elected, duly elected, did not take the oath of office. And that is required in order to be qualified to serve. That deadline was January 1st, and the person failed to take the oath of office. So yesterday, he came in and went to the Park Commission, but because the oath of office wasn't taken, he cannot serve in that capacity. He has requested, his name is Star Smith, to be appointed to the vacancy, and the board can make that appointment, or we have until February 15th. And after February 15th, it goes to the county clerk, and they will put it on the next election, which would be in August. And that would be when we're going to actually have our millages on the ballot. So it's the pleasure of the board to decide if they want to make an appointment or go through and have people file for election in August. I'll open it up for discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
personally, I feel like this person had more than enough time to being sworn in. So I would suggest putting them off to the next election.
Are there any other comments? And
Yes, Madam Chair? Madam
Yes.
Chair?
Trustee Peterson?
I guess my question is, was he notified that he had to come in and get sworn in? But yet again, there are rules. You must come in and get sworn in. And that's just the way it is. If you're running for election, you should know you have to be sworn in. And it would not be fair to anybody else that ran for that office, didn't win, and this guy, and it's nothing personal against him, I don't know him, but it's still rules to running for office and being sworn in, okay? So my thought is that I just can't see it's not fair to other people who ran for election and didn't win. And because he didn't come in, I mean, feel sorry for him, but just the rules. So that's my thought.
Thank you. Other comments?
Madam Chair, I
Trustee
feel,
Newman?
I feel that in order to be consistent, as was said previously, the person had time to file and didn't. So it would undermine the integrity of the system if it was circumvented and they were appointed. So I believe the process should go forward.
All right. Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I just had a question, I don't know if you have an answer to it or not. Was this person's first time in office? Was that in the Park Commission before?
He's been,
Extremely before. And then I noticed in the email that they didn't attend any meetings, and do we know why? Were they ill or hospital or? it's a whole-
I didn't ask any
I was just-
questions. Yeah.
I did email, after I got your email, I did email them and say, this is possibly going to be on our agenda, and just so as I contemplate, make a decision, why didn't you attend the meetings, and how come you didn't get, I just wanted to hear your point of view, so, all right, thank you.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this is a first. So the board can not make an appointment and let it go to the county and let the county put it on the next election, which would be in August, because the deadline for May is tomorrow. So we still have time to not make a decision, or there's a motion support on the table to actually approve the appointment?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, there is a motion to approve his appointment? I didn't think it was.
Wait a minute. Wait, let me get clarity.
I made a motion.
There was a,
You just explained it.
oh, to put it on the agenda,
This on the agenda to discuss.
the vacancy,
Yeah,
not the
The
appointment.
motion I made.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to, thank you, everyone. So we're discussing the vacancy and the desire of the board currently is to not appoint at this time
Yes.
and have it go to the August election is what I heard people say.
Yes.
Your motion.
No action. Madam Supervisor?
Yes.
No action will do the same thing as, it's like, if you didn't do anything, it's going to the county, but we could do either way.
Madam Chair?
That's correct.
Madam Chair?
Trustee Peterson?
So, you asked for if there would be a decision to place him or not place him and let it go to August, right? To the August election.
Correct. The motion was to allow the discussion of the
It was just discussion.
of the Park Commission vacancy.
So we never say yay or nay. It was just a discussion. I feel better. It would be in a motion that it would go to the August election. Very clear. Because I wouldn't want no feedback on this. Because I don't think it's his mishap that he didn't make it on time. Plus, if he didn't come to prior meetings, and he might have been sick, but he should have email somebody, the chair of the planning commission or someone. So I'll feel better if we make a motion that is carried on to the next election to fill that vacancy.
Just one moment, we have one.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes, that's right.
Hi, Christina Reeves, stay on Laurie Street. If some of you can talk in the mic a little more, because we can't
Thank
hear
you.
we can't hear what's going on.
Oh, okay, we're sorry.
Thank you.
That does happen to us. I'm thinking about the proper way to handle it is,
Well, Madam Chair, could we just not seat him at this time? And the determination would be it has to go to election unless you leave it vacant and appoint somebody. You really, I guess, don't really have to do that special election. How much time do you have to appoint somebody if we don't seat him tonight, to vote on seat him? Do you know?
there's 45 days from January 1st, which would be February 15th. We have until February 15th.
We have February 15th to, by the supervisor can appoint
The
somebody.
board,
The board can appoint, when's the next time we have the next meeting?
February 18th,
So that'd be after the fact?
correct.
So we almost have to, unless we knew a candidate tonight, we had to appoint him tonight. But we almost have to let it go to a vote. Or look over it that he just missed it. So I guess it's the body's pleasure.
I do.
I don't support that.
Yeah, just for clarification, I do think what trustee Rose said is correct. Inaction on it means that it goes to the county clerk on February 15th, and then they will put it on the August election. So by taking no action,
Okay.
actually will have it go to the next election.
Thank you for the clarification.
All right. Thank you for the discussion. At this time, we have public comments. You have 3 minutes to speak, and if you would use those 2 microphones, that would be helpful.
Hi there.
Hi.
Anna, 554 Hollis in the Township. I just wanted to follow up on what I saw, or what I heard around a discussion from the last meeting around introducing Zoom recordings of meetings. Excuse me. And I just wanted to offer my support around that. I heard it was tabled until October, and I'm hopeful that for the sake of accessibility, that conversation could be revisited sooner. It's something that even came up for me when you're talking about verbatim transcription of minutes, which sounds in excess. But there's a lot of people who maybe won't be able to process things they're hearing, whether it's like hearing or there's a lot of people with neurodiversity that may not be able to process things that they're hearing in a recording that would make it a lot easier if they can see people's mouths, or even with Zoom, you have the option of turning on subtitles, and so people will be able to see closed captions and participate. Beyond that, with Zoom meetings, as opposed to audio recordings, those are people that can participate real time and ask questions in chats that can be monitored by board members, offer insights, and it would just offer so much more richness to conversations involving so many more community members. And I know that it's the board's desire always to have as many people engaged and involved as possible. And I think that's a really easy way to do that. I know when I was attending these meetings about a year ago, I came to several, and that was a conversation even then that we would be having in the back of this room after meetings, talking about like, these need to be streamed, these need to be streamed. So I don't know how long it's been on the agenda for discussion, but I know that people, constituents, have been expressing a desire for more than a year. And I know that they used to be Zoomed. So, and I'm like, if the city does it, if all these other places do it, I don't understand what technological limitations could be in place that, like, If every business could possibly do it like that in 2020, I feel like we could do it. And I feel like it's owed. I feel like it would bring a lot of trust and transparency for people to have access and bring a lot more engagement. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there other public comments?
Good evening. My name is Mattie Odessa Smith, and I also came to support the fact that we would like to have the township meetings on Zoom, because even me sitting here, as a lady had to say, we didn't know what you were saying. And I thought to myself, are we supposed to know what they're saying? Because I did it. So I'm glad that she got up. But that's what I came here tonight to support, having it on Zoom for one reason, because I am a senior citizen. I'm 85 years old, and I don't like driving out to this building at night alone. And so it would be wonderful. I have had several Zoom meetings. We have our meetings on GoToMeeting. We have meetings on Zoom. In fact, I was scheduled for a Zoom meeting tonight with someone else. And so I asked them if we could do it tomorrow at 3 o'clock so that I could come to this meeting tonight to support the fact that we do need to have these meetings on Zoom, because they would be more easily accessible to more people.
Thank you. Sir, don't come down here because it's a bad step. Can't you just use that microphone? I'm sorry?
You need help? Did you say you're going to fall over?
No, yeah, well, yeah, we don't want.
My name is Jeremy Haley on Wismer. I'd like to ask a question. Is there a project coming into the township through Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and U of M creating a research computing facility? Because somewhere I was told it's already in a magazine somewhere, it's worth $1.2 billion.
I read it.
So I was just wondering, have you guys heard about it or whatnot? So, but the second thing is for the economic opportunities of the businesses within the county or in the township. You need to bring the people that live here are fine, but you also need to bring people that live outside the county in to do things. And I know during the summer months at Frog Island, you do things with, the Summer Jazz Festival. There's other things going along and, Nipsey, stuff like that. But there's really nothing in the wintertime that you can do. So I'm suggesting that you use one of the parks to set up like a holiday light show sometime before Thanksgiving, running through like New Year's. People would come in and see, because I was dragged along with a friend to go see one 2 counties away, paying $25 per person. And along the way, somewhere in one of those counties, we stopped and got something to eat, improving the economic opportunities of whatever county or township, municipality we were in. I'm just asking you to think about that, because it's people within the township will go too, but it's the people that you can bring in that will spend the most and help improve the economic development and opportunities for the businesses. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Be careful. I'm going to get that fixed. Are there any other public comment? Hearing none, board member comments. Are there any board member update? I do want to say we had a meeting with Washtenaw County Parks Director regarding the new rec center being on Clark Road in Dawn, and they are interested in having people on committees. So if board members are interested in being on any of the committees that they have, they're going to send me a list, and residents, of course. they're looking to move this forward pretty quickly. As they said, the money is in place. They have a design, but they still want to have these committee or community engagement committees. So if you're interested, as soon as I get the list of them, some of them are what programs or activities would be involved. They did say there was going to be a pool, 2 pools actually, and in the back, in the Superior Township side, it borders 2 communities, is the basketball, strike soccer, and pickleball, and playground equipment, because it was located very close to the residents. So that's why they moved it out to Clark Road. And so they're proceeding. That was a positive meeting. I do have a meeting with the University of Michigan this week regarding a proposed data center that is proposed for Ypsi Township on the corner of Bridge and Textile, right across from the Ford Motor Company. There's supposed to be 200 jobs, and we will learn more then as far as what it entails. They are a university, and they've reminded me of that. I did ask for police and fire, payment in lieu of taxes for police and fire, which is municipal agreements that our attorney has negotiated with other nonprofit or not-for-profit entities. But they didn't seem too excited about that when I brought it up, but I think we should continue to see if we can get for police and fire, and also their involvement in the community. What can they do? Sometimes they have internships, they do many things, they do jazz festivals, they do a lot of things at the University of Michigan and other communities that hopefully they could bring here as well. So we're having our first meeting this week, and as I get more information, we'll provide it. We have to figure out the process because it is a school, so they don't have to go through our planning process. So hopefully they will. We'll keep you posted on that. That's all I have. A motion to, one other, I'm sorry. There was one resident, Jane Wolf, that sent in an email in support of having live streaming since it's hard for her to get to the meeting, and she really supports that. So I wanted to read that into the record. Motion to adjourn would be in order?
Chair, motion to adjourn.
Motion support to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:54.